Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to a quick view of sorts. Hopefully, a little grindy there. Hopefully, potentially the beginning of a series in which we begin by doing something very on brand. And by that, I mean something that is unwise to a degree. TF2 Scottsdale. This one is in on loan, was purchased with the Canyon as the recipient for the delivery. But after we are done doing the things that we will do, it will move on to its forever home. So, if you look at the date that this video was uploaded and you ask questions, and it is several months separating the time when you're asking and the time that it was posted, it's probably not still here. It'll be here for a little bit. And as I said, as I alluded to, we're going to do the unwise, which is, oh yeah, 3000 NIM. Woo! We're going to do the unwise, which is we're going to do the unbox to rocks, a Canyon favorite, which is not something that basically that doesn't work with RC four-wheel drive. You need to disassemble the entire vehicle and put it completely back together. Otherwise, it will rattle trap itself apart. Well, that has, I'm looking for the hole. That has historically been the case with RC four-wheel drive vehicles. I have no reason to think that anything has changed. This is some, that is double wall all the way. Okay, so the body is completely separate from the vehicle. Was there a hole in that box to allow? That's some custom stuff. We got the custom boxes. We're gonna get in here. So we're gonna do box to rocks because when something says RTR, I have no reason not to believe them. I take them at their word. Most vehicles sold as RTRs are not. So it is a big. That's the lunch size portion. That might be the dinner size portion of the do not eat. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna go box to rocks, wise or unwise. Now there are allowances. Like I do believe that I'm seeing the grill for the body. So we will do whatever small things. I think that was a screw that just fell in that box. We'll do whatever small things are required to get this drivable. What turn is on it? 45. We've tested. That fit. Okay. It's a TF2, but we have a more typical wheelbase. We're on a 12.3 wheelbase. And that already, I mean, it's stiff because it's leaf, but it really does feel better than my Marlin, straight out of the box. At any rate, yeah, we're on our way to something somewhere. Radio. EPA for all three channels. Trims, reversing. Not. I don't even think I can one-hand this one. Not a one-hander of a radio. What does RC four-wheel drive call this? ZR0009. I also learned while getting this thing out of its shipping box a fact that I didn't know, that RC four-wheel drive is from Visalia, California. Good old Visalia. Right up here in the high desert, not that far away from where we are located. I was as surprised to find that out as I was to find out that Panther, the tire manufacturer, is from Riverside all these years. I have no idea. Like, we will install the fenders. Oh, okay, yes, okay. Lexan fenders, much like what come with the Marlin. Only these feel at the very least less frangible. Mine on the Marlin got destroyed almost immediately. We are doing everything in our power to improve our ability to drive Class 1 things, hard body things, bumpers. And the question I have about that is, how? There's nothing else. There's nothing else in there. And these bumpers have pins, but there's no mounts on the body. I mean, on the chassis. So there may be mounts on the body, or there's a bag of something. So we are ARTR. They do indeed provide, you saw the 3000 NIM, so they provide a battery. And they famously provide their little RC4WD drive branded AA batteries. That's something. It's not to be discounted outright. But there's the whole fastener thing, where when I got my Marlin, the TF2 Marlin Edition, I was warned in advance. You have to take it apart and you have to thread lock everything. And I said, okay. So I took it apart and I thread locked everything? Not everything, but everything. And long story short, if there was a fastener and I neglected to put thread lock on it, it either fell out or was on the way to falling out in the span of a single battery pack. You know, when the packaging for the body is as serious as the packaging for the rig itself, that oh my goodness. Woof. That's all the chrome striping. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The weight of the... We will. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny, right? Oh yeah, there's the mount points. I will get the little booklet out. This is what I wanted to see ever since I saw it on the box. This hood opens, yeah? This hood opens, yeah? I mean, come on. Come on. Small block. It's got plug wires. It's got radiator. There's battery cables. Oh, you give it a little nudge forward and then it unmagnetites. There's a magnet in the hood and a magnet right there. Push it back and it goes, oh. We got the swing out mirrors. We've got a full interior with dashboard, steering wheel, seats, the whole thing. There is lighting. We've got a whole array of lighting. There's our lighting cable. But let me see here. Yeah. This is a heavy boy. This is a heavy boy. Okay, I'm seeing it now. So, a couple screws through there to mount the rear bumper. Front bumper mount screws there, and there. I will go through helper leafs, I guess, if you're going to... Because it looks like it oh my God. It looks like it comes with a reduced amount of leafs. Yes, there are 2 leafs in the rear, and there are 2 leafs in the front. So basically what you have to do when you unbox any previous trail finder, essentially the first thing you had to do was unbolt these all and take a bunch of leafs out. They did that for us. We're gonna, RTR means RTR. Mounts just like a trail finder with the screws from the sides. So we will put set screws in place to hook over there. Well, we got a little far back because we don't have any screws or anything in place. Oh, holy moly. Holy moly. We're also, at some point through its life, going to find out what size of a tire we can fit on here. But before we get to that, what I need to do is I need to go through and I need to find out what is required to get this body on and to get the bumpers mounted, which means getting into here. So I guess the second grill is an alternate grill. No, it's just they just give you an extra grill. You get two grills. I am going to find out what all is involved in getting the body mounted, because it's in like 7 languages. All right, boring stuff, and then we will meet up again before we head out to where the rocks live. All right, folks, before we get to any kind of a rocks, we need to talk about some stuff. First and foremost is that this thing is unconscionably attractive, and let's get past that. Let's ignore that as best as I can. It is let's loop back around. It is so unconscionably attractive, particularly when you get the paint cleaned up, and it's got there's a real metal flake to the paint. I mean, it looks good. It looks really good. It looks good to the point that you're going to walk around with a Costco microfiber in your pocket. You'll be like, oh no. I've already hit it with the Chemical Guys synthetic quick dealer tail. It smells fantastic in here. And look, if you will, at that. I haven't cut these down yet. The tailgate drops open every time you touch it. Every time you touch it, it falls open. This follows in a long and storied tradition of RC four-wheel drive. Where's the book? This filled me with a grumbling displeasure, and I feel like I need to share that grumbling displeasure with you. It's near the end. It's where you go through the optional steps of putting on stickers and putting on stuff. You know what? Just let us build it, because the tires that are mounted on these very odd wheels, they wanted to go with a real deep dish, so we've got a real proper deep dish on there. They are sealed. Not just sealed, but sealed. The tire, if you squeezed it this way, would balloon out on the top like that. They were not going to do well, so I had to take them apart. Take everything apart, punch holes in the wheel, in the tires, and put everything back together. It was not a particularly arduous process, as these wheels have a 27 millimeter wide beadlock ring. You can literally press the halves together and they hold all the way together. Bubble Juice helped a lot, because I was holding out hope that maybe these are not X2S3, but are in fact X2SS. They feel pretty soft, pretty pliable. They feel pretty nice now. And you note how like they were definitely going for an aesthetic with these. How well these will perform, I do not know, but they are. They're probably 385s. Give me a 385 off the bench. They are. Well, this is a 385 and this is a 393, and it's kind of in between the two, like a 390. That sounds like something that RC four-wheel drive would do. So to drive, and most people are not going to want to go through the arduous process of taking the rims apart, because they don't give you a tool to get the scale hardware. They are indeed scale hardware on there. They don't provide. At least I didn't see one. Did I miss it and not see it? No, they did not give you a tool to take those out. So I have a drawer full of them, and thankfully, because do you remember a little while back I heard the distinct sound of a screw tumbling down into the box? One of the wheels only had 5 lug nuts, let's call them. It only had 5 lug nuts in it. That's just an M2.5 black, the scale cap heads. I have a lot of those. So we threw one of those in there. It is definitely set up sans helper springs and no springs inside the shocks, and we can be thankful for that because they used to include them inside on everything. So we'll get the... Once you put that pork of a body on the top, it's going to feel probably a little underdamped. I mean, you could do the... Yeah, it is definitely leafed down. It's going to make for some fun driving and... fun, terror-filled driving. I am... Pardon me. I am filling with anxiety already because it's so shiny. And when things are sent in here where they come factory direct before they make it to the final Canyon Arrow, the owner of this item, I am inevitably the guy that's going to put the first scratch on it. That's just going to happen. So my goal is kind of to not break it. We're going to power it up here in just a second. But I feel like first we need to see it next to a regular trail finder. And you know what? Do you know what? Let me see. If we can get this guy like this. Pardon me, bear. Move him down. Just get rid of that hair. That's about right. Yeah. Big full-size Chevy and a Toyota Hilux everywhere else in the world. Yeah, that's pretty darn close. So the extension of the wheelbase and the little bit of extra beef it's got going on, and then you can see like the relationship of the tire to the fender on the Marlin on Old Blue versus the tire to the fender on here. And I think based on the amount of full compression we have, I think a 4.19, I think a class 1 will fit on here quite easily. I have 419 tusks around here somewhere. Do I? Are they dirty? Yeah, they're pretty... Ugh. Let me knock that off a little. Yeah, it'll be pretty beast mode. Yeah, I am rapidly becoming an aficionado. Well, I'm learning to like the smaller tire, but with few exceptions, this guy being one of them, the 393 Bounty Hunters on Rusty being another. I don't really like to trend. I don't like to fall below a 4.19. We will see how these, what I'll just be calling 390s, do on here. And, anxiety. I mean, I am anxiety-ridden. Oh, we've got one more comparo we can do. So how do we look K10 versus K5? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I have heard a complaint or two issued on the internet about the relative height, like the belt line height versus how much roof there is. Yeah, I feel like the scale of this is a lot more true. Like we're shorter at the door, so there's a bit more window, but the overall height is a bit lower. And hood to hood is pretty darn close. And bumper to bumper sits a hair lower as he's 4-length and this guy's not. These are very similar in terms of size and scale. Let's get a look at can we side together some grills? So we've got this, yeah, I mean, definitely more detail on our boys here from RC4WD Drive, but proper close. I like the black. I like the black wipers. Let's get him powered up. See what we're working with. I want to see the lights and whatnot. I've thrown some batteries in here. Boy. Yeah, yeah, those are on. Are they on? Yeah, I guess they're on. I had to find a battery. It is not affixed in any way. It's actually sitting on top of the drive shaft right now. We will figure it out because I endeavored to stick my usual 3S pack in there, and it wouldn't fit, and I couldn't get the body to sit down. The bed sits even lower than the Marlin bed. Thoughtful things, I respect where respect is due. On FMS, where the switch is mounted, you can just reach it in through a fender. Here's the switch on here. I'm okay with that. We've got taillights. We've got headlights. They're pretty bright. I wish they were a little more ambery, but we'll allow it. They're brighter this way. And this thing... to me, from my little bit of experience in these matters, that sounds like a pretty bad spur pinion mesh. So there may be another few minutes of downtime in between now and you witnessing it outside. Because I am indeed going to have to go over those little points as well. This is the thing. Drive it like you built it. RC4 drive, I mean, I understand you're going for a wink, for a winky phrase, but I can't. Because if I built it, I can drive it with confidence. Meanwhile, I took this out of a box. Shouldn't sound like that. Here's the deal. You could charge me as much money as you do now. Well, knock it down. How about we knock it down a little bit? I understand. If you're buying this, you're not buying this. You're buying this. I wish that like, you've got to get it there is the only way it stays open. We're going to have to fashion a hood prop rod. Look at the detail on this. On that, let's get it up in there again. That's insane. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm amazed the doors don't open. You know, so you're buying this for a very specific reason or reasons, and outright performance is not up there at the top. Because it's not going to be that. This is a scaler. So, and boy, is it ever. I would recommend that anyone getting deep involved in this would remove the interior and paint the interior and put the included decals on it. But we've got a drop bed, full bed, not just a drop bed, but we have a tailgate that infuriatingly won't stay closed. I don't know how. It's not too hard to get that hood to pop open. No, you know what? We'll probably actually end up getting the hood to pop open, but what a great looking thing. So we will forgive a great deal of performance shortcomings as it is a TF2. And sort of the joy and the beauty of it is in the limitations. My biggest regret on the day is not weighing the body before mounting it. I did my usual mounting as threatened, where I just put long set screws right here, and this body fits so tight that once the front fenders are installed, and these are installed, getting the body over those fenders and install, you need to wear gloves because the whole thing is just going to be covered with finger grease. It's probably 2 minutes to get the body on, and the whole time I'm being overly precious about it. Like, I'm like, I don't want to hurt it. It's a toy car, man. We got to treat it like a toy car. But good grief, it might be an old blue included. It might be the most scale looking vehicle in here. It makes the FCX10 look kind of chintzy. That's the difference between a hard body and some well done Lexan. But it's just, this is a different league. Yeah, we're bummed about the fact that we have to have screw heads in our taillights, and our taillights are just 2 points of light. But it can't. They can't all be home runs. We can't ask for everything. Look how shiny it is. Oh, I'm dragging my feet. I'm sandbagging in case you haven't noticed, because I am going to have to drive it, and at some point we're going to hurt it. And the first cut is the deepest, to make yet another song reference from a time long bygone. We're going to drive it. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to look at the gears. I will at least make a mesh adjustment. The entire gearbox NT case probably need to be taken apart and greased. It is not an RTR. It's a double kit. This kit comes completely assembled, and you now have to disassemble the kit, fix all the things that either weren't done at all or weren't done correctly, and then assemble it correctly. And then you will be able to drive it like you built it, because you just did. But what are we going to do? It is what it is. It is what it is. So I'll tinker, and then I will meet you outside, and we will do a little bit of rocks. We'll do some driving around. We'll treat this somewhere in between what we put the FCX-10 through and what we put the FMS Rock Hobby Willies through. Something in the middle. Not too crazy, but also not just driving around in circles on flat ground. We gotta do something. So I like to begin the transition when we get out back to the rocks with what was the drive from the shop to the course like. I rolled it twice. So I don't know how that bodes for the continuation of this installment, but most of it was from trying to one-hand this, and like even with my inhuman thumbs, this is not a one-hander. This is a two-handed radio, and they've set the suspension up so soft. I mean, it is welcome, because my recollections of a Trailfinder 2 are the Marlin, which comes with the full leaf spring pack. It doesn't weigh as much as this thing, and it has the suspension compliance of a skateboard. So I feel like this is going to be better. The vented tires definitely made a difference. They kind of tend to roll over a little bit. And I did indeed correct that gear mesh, because this would be undrivable without doing so. I don't know if it got knocked during transport, but if you tried to manually turn the spur gear with your thumb, you could barely do it. That motor was stoved that motor was crammed all the way in. Look at it's delightful how much it bobs and rolls. I don't know. Maybe it's historically accurate, but the mirrors, the side view mirrors, look like they're the size of microwave oven doors. Maybe that's accurate. Maybe it's because they're chrome. Maybe it's because I'm used to modern cars and they're very small side view mirrors. I wanted to, oh yeah. So, what do they call the servo is a twister, is that right? And the speed control is an outcry, which they come with a 2S 3000 NIM pack, and this is the available drag brake on 3S, which is virtually nothing. We stop when we get mechanical interference. You know what we do though? We allow it. Oh, the positionability on a rock is nearly zero, because the instant you release any pressure, like right here, I go, oh, I want to release throttle, boom, you're gone, because you weigh 8.5 pounds. That speed control with that motor combo, that is a big ask of a sealed can 45 to move this kind of hulk around, because they basically give you the same motor in all the Trailfinders that I'm aware of. The steering, let me see, does it have, it's got endpoints. Let me see. Okay, all right. They had the endpoints set at about 60%. Oh, that's much better. That's a bit more steering there. Oh. I was going for a negging thing where I was going to be like, this is not a rock crawler. And I thought it might actually pull a line. Yeah, that's okay. In the spirit of things that are not RTRs, this is an RTR in that we can do this. I can do that. It drives. I mean, it wasn't. The spur pinion mesh, I've never seen, it had to have gotten knocked in shipping. I've never seen a spur pinion mesh that tight on something new, RTR out of the box. They're usually set pretty good. The unvented tires, that's not going to work. I mean, I guess we could get away with the 2S NIM pack, which would slow it down, but it's going to remove a bunch of torque, and it's going to require, like, performing even a maneuver like this is going to require like 50% throttle. The tires, honestly, they feel there's some grip there. There's definitely some grip there. I do not like them. I like them cosmetically. In just the drive from there to here and doing this little bit here, they might be scale, but we've already made some fairly noticeable sacrifices. That T-case, and they've been using the same mounting for that T-case for presumably ever. It dangles down so low down below the belly. We are definitely going to have to address that, much like I did on old Blue the Marlin. And then we've got things like this has what I'm assuming is a period correct pumpkin on the passenger side, so pumpkin on the right. But the T-case output is clearly set up for pumpkin on the left. So the drive shaft has got like a 40-degree angle in the front. We've done some, I'm going to leave us out of this. RC4 drive has made some sacrifices for vanity. The wheels, the tires, the axles that don't really fit with the transfer case. I'm kind of looking at it, figuring out if I can flip the transfer case upside down and put the output, then that'll change. Maybe I can go to a flexible upper link, you know, a universal for the upper, see if we can get that thing moved over so we can get a little bit straighter of a drive line. I don't really notice much in the way of torque twist, but I don't have the ability to notice much of anything because it's driving in constant fear, and I think that's on me. I have rolled it twice, but I rolled it once in the dirt and once in the grass. Dirt and grass are in shorter supply back here. It's mostly rock. And I'm trying to talk myself up into, the speed control. The radio, aside from being overly enormous, not bad. Steering wheel feels okay. Trigger feel, not bad. There's not an overly excessive amount of tension on it. But that motor has shown some promise in other applications in other vehicles on other speed controls. I think that speed control is a relic of a bygone era. And despite the fact that we're looking at a pickup truck of kind of inarguably a bygone era, they don't make them like they used to. We shouldn't have to suffer. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're doing it. We're doing it. Ah! I mean, that's least worst. I got to get these out of my system somehow. I don't know if when driving this, and I still experience it with old Blue to a degree, I don't know if I'm going to be able to break myself of the feeling that it's too precious, you know? Like the fear of rolling it. I hold my breath a lot driving this. The sprung, in terms of performance, I argue and I focus on sprung to unsprung ratio. The sprung to unsprung ratio on this has to potentially be the worst of any vehicle I've ever driven. If this is 80% sprung only 80% sprung, I would be astonished. It's probably closer to 90 because on this vehicle with chassis mounted steering and all the little bits, we are talking about the axles, the wheels, the tires, half of the drive shafts, and the lower half of the shocks being unsprung. If that's a pound, and if it's a pound, that's 12%. That's 88% sprung weight. So we get the Wallow. Oh, also, I have harped on it in the past, and I will continue to harp on it. I don't think it is within my internal capabilities to routinely drive vehicles running tires smaller than 419. 393s on Rusty work for some reason. I don't know why. Anywhere else I try to operate a 393, it doesn't work out well, and these are smaller than that. I think they're, like I said, about 390. It is kind of capable for what it is, which is a scaler. I mean, look, I routinely just look at it and go, how does that look so good? Cosmetically, with a question mark next to the mirrors, I think they demolished it. And now I'm trying to figure out a way to drive down this and not roll. But, I mean, there's inside of me, there are two wolves. And both of the wolves want a mix of cosmetics and performance. This thing is, in its current configuration, this is 100% appearance. It's got a full-scale engine in it. The tailgate opens. But driving it, and I think that the speed control and motor combo are just basically not up to the task. You are not buying this for its abilities. You're buying this because it's pretty. This is a model that moves. That's what it is. It's that detailed on the body. We are paying for that body. What's underneath it? It's a trail finder. It is at best unremarkable. There's no bells nor whistles under there. There are no fancy feet. It doesn't even have a 2-speed. There's no although God, whew, that just popped into my mind. The notion of this on a 2-speed, terrifying. As it is, you will lift the inside front on every turn, pretty much. The suspension is, let me see how to, oof. You can hear that bonk from here. Let me see how to describe this. The motor, or potentially the combination of the ESC and the motor, are both too weak and too fast simultaneously and in equal measure. You feel like you feel like you don't have enough torque to get anything done. And then once you're moving, you feel like you're on the bleeding, ragged edge of control, like that it's going to go out of control at any minute. This is running downhill with a heavy backpack on, even just driving across chopped terrain like this right here. Like, there's just a sudden, and that's RTR stuff. We have to discount that. We could put a better motor, better speed control, all of those things. What that's going to come back around to is you have to want this. You have to want a Scottsdale. You have to want that K10 pickup so badly that you are willing to sacrifice almost. Did you win? Yeah. And what did it take? Everything. That's this. What did you want? Scottsdale. What did you give? Everything. It's gorgeous. No one could argue that. I love the look of the wheel and tire. I mean, we don't do a lot of driving around in the woods in this neck of the woods. Ha ha! But we do have a little bit of woods to drive around in. I'll tell you right now, from here up top, the bucket chair, as the gentleman mow, weed eat, and noise up the grass outside the post office, this is not for me. It's not for me. I'm not willing to give up everything. Sacrifices for vanity don't extend to all. Like the Venn diagram, we have to have the overlapping circles. We can't just have one circle right on top of the other one. And that's kind of what this is for me. Now, do I think that it can potentially be tuned to be better? Sure. I mean, most everything can. I have been told by more than one person that the more you drive a Leaf rig, the more it breaks in, the better it gets. And I have no reason not to believe that. And I have every reason to desperately hope that that is in fact completely true. We are going to do, we're going to do it. We're going to do the treatment. We're going to do the things in the hopes of making this capable enough to be acceptable without taking away from what it is. That's always the goal. That's the goal with every vehicle that passes through our doors. But at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, that is a 3-pound body. That body weighs 48 ounces. That is just shy of 1.5 kilograms, just for the body. I don't know if you can put enough brass, you know, because no, how did I get up onto that? There we go. Oh. And then I bring myself back down. I look at it and I go, oh, it's so good. That's terrifying. I look at it and I go, it's so good. But it's too so good. If the Scottsdale is sitting next to an FCX10 so like we saw them on the bench next to each other, this looks better. It's not even arguable. The FCX10 looks great in a vacuum. If you don't know that this is a thing and you've never seen this, particularly if you've never seen them side by side, the FCX10 looks amazing. Then you see it next to this and you go, oh. Doesn't make the FCX10 ugly, it looks more like what it is. But the FCX10 is much closer to this middle ground of sacrificing performance for vanity, giving you stuff. The FCX10 has a lot of things that people probably don't want. It's got lockers, 2-speed dig. It's loaded. The thing's got 5 servos in it. This has 1. Just the 1. And it's everything for that body. And I get it. It is not a sacrifice that I myself think that at this juncture I would be willing to make. But my God, you could just sit and look at it. You could just sit and look at it. Look how good that body looks. Look how good that vehicle looks. They did an amazing job. They did what every RTR manufacturer apparently does now, which is, what can we get away with giving them underneath? Give them the oldest and the least. And then we will put just Foxy on top of it. The hood doesn't stay open anymore. After about 4 or 5 hood openings, you would have to fashion yourself a hood prop to prop the hood open. I still think those mirrors look too big. The performance is exactly what I anticipated it would be. A Marlin is going to smack a Scottsdale around because it's carrying a body that's probably a pound lighter, and then it's probably an additional pound lighter underneath, probably coming in around high 6s, low 7s. I have nothing negative to say. Mirrors, question mark. I don't even know if I don't like them, but what are we talking about here? $550 for this? You have to want this, like bad. You've got to want it real bad. And you need to know what you're giving up to get it. Which is, as I said, everything. So, in terms of the whole package, it's as overpriced as every other RTR on the market, in my humble opinion. They are all grotesquely overpriced. And this one is just priced to the market. And as far as what you're getting from the body, what do we all think it would cost to just buy that body as it sits right there? Oh, 200 bucks, easy. Easy. Traxxas charges 200 bucks for Lexan that isn't as closely detailed as that thing, with the interior, with the engine. Honestly, there's probably a world where you have to piece that body together and it costs $300. So, know and be aware. We're going to go through the process. We're going to do some stuff. This vehicle is, as I said, a visitor to the canyon. It's here midway in between here and its final home. And we're going to do some stuff. We haven't really gotten into talks yet as to what the stuff is going to be. But you will hopefully follow along for the journey and see where we end up with it. It's a beautiful thing. It might be the best looking rig ever driven here. So far. But, what you got to give. It's legitimately like a minimum of 1 minute to put the body on. It makes you want to install one of those kill switches and a charge port so that you can charge it without ever taking the battery out. Hard mount a battery in it. But it does have the beauty. It makes me want to buy it things. And that's the spark of joy. It's still, it literally makes my stomach drop whenever I drive it anywhere where it looks like it's going to fall away. But what a gorgeous thing. So, hit me in the comments below. If you have one, let me know what you've done to get it more, to the performance more to your liking. Any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, put them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We look forward to seeing you here again in the canyon for the next one, whether it be this or whatever else it may be. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And in between now and when we meet again, please, one and all, do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again very soon here from the canyon. And, I mean, I could just... This is the problem for me. This is why I don't think the Scottsdale is for me. Because I could just sit here and look at it. I don't even need to drive it. And that is not what we do here.